Ian Keller?
Yes, I know exactly what it is.
That's Rich Keller.
I had no idea.
He's off the street.
Yes, yeah,
But
to a
his
house.
house is right on Sagamore in Millburn. And this
And
one
where
sitting
do you, what
here,
town do you live in?
we think is too
Oh, you're way up
unusual.
north.
He's only here because
Way up the line
his
there.
friend on the application. So he wants to meet her.
Right, basically.
Then he'll talk to us. Joe is gonna postpone this to March 2nd.
Eileen, are we on?
Not yet.
No, is that on? Okay. I think we're ready to do it. Yes, but he's coming, but he sent an email. He's having problems with Penn Station. He's taking going to Hoboken, and then he's hopes to be here by 8 p.m. Maybe sooner, but by 8.
Jessica, you're not gonna open a can of Coke or anything, are you?
Is your ear still recovering from that?
I had listened to tape or something and I forgot, and I hear. It was funny.
Take over. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board at Town Hall and serving the officially designated newspapers a notice stating that this meeting would take place at the Millburn Town Hall at 7 p.m. on February 3rd, 2020.
Here.
Wolfgang Torres,
Here.
Adam Mizell,
Here.
Vice Chairman Jessica Glatt,
Here.
Chairman Joseph Stein.
Here. Are there any applications for adjournment? Come forward and tell the name of the case. At the microphone. yeah.
It's, Calendar 373719. Martonio. It's we'd like to adjourn to March 2nd, I think.
Well, can you get him on March 2nd? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other applications for adjournment? Welcome to the Millburn Township Zoning Board of Adjustment. On the table to my right, in the front of the room, are copies of tonight's agenda, which we're going to deal with in a minute, and also a one-page summary of how we conduct these meetings. First of all, I want to say that if a case is called that you have an interest in, come down front. Very hard to hear and see what's going on in the back of the room. If there are any cell phones in the room, silence them. And if you get a vibration and you know you absolutely must respond to it, there are 3 doors here. Leave the room, go in the back, plenty of room back there, and you can do your business back there without disturbing the meeting. Okay. We have a little bit problem tonight, as you can see, being in terms of the number of people who are here. Abraham's here. You want to come down front? Here's our problem with you guys. You need, as I recall, 1 variance.
1C variance.
It's the C variance, which means you need 4 affirmative votes. Unfortunately, your neighbor, Mary McNett, is going to recuse. She must recuse by law. That leaves 4 of us here. A bare majority, a quorum, so we can open the meeting, but you need a unanimous vote. Now, We have one member who has been emailing us, texting us like crazy, trying to get here. Says he may be here by 8, maybe before 8, but
He's at the Mercy in New Jersey Transit, so.
yeah, so he's dealing with a problem.
We feel positive that we'd like to present with the four.
Okay, that's fine.
We'd like unanimous anyway.
And we normally, and I don't want to show any favoritism here, we normally will take carryover cases first, so that you're going to have to wait a little bit, because we have a carryover case. And that case is listed as New Jersey Energy on the agenda. You guys will be next after that case is done. There's a time limit on that case.
Well,
We-
but we have a problem with that case too.
Yeah, well, we have a problem with that
I
case.
did tell Mr. Sato that we were short, so he is aware.
Okay, well,
Is he aware of how short we are right now?
I did, well. I
here's,
didn't know
here's
about
a, here's a problem.
You can sit down, Danny. Matt, you wanna come forward?
All right, here are some problems with New Jersey Energy. Number one, the missing member tonight, Steve, has heard the case in the past. So if you guys want to wait until 8 o'clock, he said he thinks he'll be here by then.
Okay.
However,
However, we have another member who's not here tonight, who has heard the case up till now. But on the agenda tonight, under new business, we're going to be, well, it should have been listed. We're going to be discussing excusing her for a period of 3 months.
Okay.
So she will not be here to listen to tapes. Or now, other members who are not here tonight will listen to the tapes. So you should have, with the alternates, you should have a full board.
no,
We'll either,
because Mr.
Without-
Satsouris has recused himself
that's
on your
right, that's
application.
right, Mr.
So you're
Tesoro.
not going to have a 7-member board,
That's
no
right.
matter what.
Right.
That's right. That's right, you're gonna have 6 at best.
Are you able to provide a transcript, because listening to the tapes is really not the best solution, and we now have, possibly, definitely 2, possibly 3 members who are going to need to, in order to prepare a certification, either listen to the tapes or read a transcript. The transcripts would be much
Transcripts, I
better
think, are better than
Sure.
tapes.
than the tape.
Sure. May I just have a moment to speak to my client?
Sure.
Sure.
Case number 373719, that's been adjourned until March 2nd?
March 2nd.
Yes.
So nothing's going to be heard about that tonight?
Nothing's gonna be heard tonight.
Okay.
It'll
thank
be
you.
heard on March 2nd. No further notice will be required unless they make changes to the application.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, let me make a formal announcement. Calendar 3737-19, 264-66 Main Street will be heard on March 2 at 7 p.m. in this room. That's, location is 264-266 Main Street, Millburn. Council.
I also had a chance to speak to my client, and we'd like to proceed forward today. We will order transcripts, though, for this hearing, so that those missing board members will have an opportunity to review the transcripts, either review those or listen to the tapes at their discretion. I guess we leave it to the board, to your suggestion as to whether or not you recommend that we wait till 8 o'clock, though, for the other
I think it'd
individual.
be a good idea.
Well, I think really you have to, because for the purpose of your application, a quorum is really gonna be 5 people. That's
Mhm.
the minimum you need for a vote, so I don't think you really can proceed until Mr. Toger arrives, because
Yep.
Mr. Satsouris is going to step down, so.
Right.
It's already 7:15, so hopefully Mr. Toger will arrive here.
in the
Soon.
next 45 minutes,
I mean,
we
he
hope.
said by 8, according to the schedule, if not sooner, so maybe we'll get lucky.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Not a
Great.
problem. See you then. Thanks.
Okay. Just as a general matter, is the Wall case, by the way, here in the room? Wall, W-O-L-K?
Yes, we're here.
You're there. You ready to proceed?
We are.
Okay.
And then,
And 3719 has been adjourned.
No.
no,
Yeah, 37.
yeah, in the last case, 3739.
3737-19.
Right, Martino has been
Martina has been adjourned. And 3739-19, Shetty, is that case here?
Yes.
Yes?
And you're ready
Yes.
to proceed? Okay.
Okay. I think then it would be, not yet. I think it would be a good idea then to hold off on the New Jersey Energy case, hoping that we get our missing member who's fighting New Jersey Transit here. So I would proceed to the Park Road case.
Well, first you have to
First
do
is-
minutes and resolutions.
Yes, we do have to have minutes in this. We have one set of minutes for tonight.
I have 2 corrections to be made to the minutes that were forwarded to me. First one is on page 27, line 1181. After the word eliminated, you will put several of the originally requested variances.
Several of.
Yes, and on page 28, line 1237, board members felt they could support the application with the condition of evergreen screening in place of the installation of evergreen. And that's it.
With those 2 corrections, are there any other corrections or additions to those minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes of January 13? In order to make a motion or second it or to vote, you have to have been here on that night.
I move approval of minutes from January 13th, 2020.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Okay, we have 2 memorializations.
Five.
No,
Look at the other one.
Oh, this one, yeah, that's right. Let me get this out of the way. So the first one is calendar 3690-19, Shen, 332 Lupine Way. Any additions or corrections to those, to that memorialization? Who's eligible to vote on that?
Isn't that? Ms. Black, Mr. Snyder. The 3 of you, that's it. No one else is here.
Here you go. We only need one, so it's a memorialization.
Motion?
I move approval of calendar 3690-19.
Second?
Second,
Mary McNabb,
Yes.
Jessica Black.
yes.
Joseph Steinberg.
Yes. Next one is Lou at 31 Elmwood Place, calendar 3706-19. Who's eligible here?
Mary. Jessica, Joe, and Morgan.
Any additions or corrections to that one? If not, is there a motion?
I move approval of calendar 3706-19.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mary McNabb,
Yes.
Wolfgang Torres.
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes.
Joseph Steinberg.
Yes. The next is, as I recall, this is a
It's a memorialization of a denial.
Denial. 3717-19 Ahmed Ali at 32 Whitney Road. Who's eligible here?
Well, the motion to deny the FAR only
It
the
has to-
yeses can vote on it, but the motion to approve the Cs was defeated, so only the people that voted no.
Correct.
The only people eligible to vote are Joe Simon.
Me?
Yes. Because everyone else, Craig, Joy, Steve, and I.
So
Oh,
you're gonna move the adoption.
I have to move the adoption.
Move it and
I second it. All in favor? Yes. Calendar 3733-19, Matthew and Rachel Beck at 9 East Beechcroft Road. Who's eligible
all
here?
full members can vote.
All regular members? All right.
So that's just-
Any additions or
That's just the
corrections?
three of them,
Yeah.
Mary, Jessica, and Joe.
Any additions or corrections? Motion?
Move approval of calendar 3733-19.
Second,
Mary McNett,
yes.
Jessica Glad.
Yes.
Joseph Steinberg.
Yes. And finally, calendar 3738-19, Allison Feldman and Alex Benjamin at 376 Wyoming
I just have
Avenue.
two small corrections, Gail, that I just wanted to double check. On page 3,
Wait, let me pull it out while we're talking. Sorry. Okay,
number 3, it says provided secretary with a conformed copy, so it's supposed to be certified.
conformed copy means a recorded copy.
Okay,
If you prefer recorded,
I just want to make sure. And the other thing was on the last page, it should be third, not 3
oops, okay.
Yeah.
Any other additions or corrections? Thank you, Eileen. Who's eligible here?
Mary, Jessica, Joe, Wolfgang.
Motion to approve?
Move approval of calendar 3738-19.
Second?
Second.
Mary McNett,
Yes.
Wolfgang Torres,
Yes.
Jessica Glad.
Yes.
Joseph Steinberg.
Yes. Okay, you want to proceed with that case at 15 Park Road, Abrahams? Mary, you're going to recuse?
I'm recusing this.
I do.
I do.
Daniel Duvenet.
Brian Abrams.
Well, before we begin, I want to thank you again, Mr. Duvenet, for making it very easy on the board by doing the dye on the lawn so we can see exactly where you propose to put the addition. Thank you. I don't know why the other architects don't do that, but it's very helpful to the board members. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Chairman Steinberg and board members, I first want to express my thanks to you for taking the time out this evening to consider our proposed addition to our home. My name is Brian Abrams. I'm here on behalf of myself and my wife Stephanie, and alongside our architect Danny Duvenet. We love our street and our neighborhood, and while our house has room, it's not in the right spots.
They were
The
both
split-
sworn. Sorry.
It's okay. The split-level design divides up the spaces. My wife and I have been saving for the past few years so we could potentially improve the living space, kitchen, and family room through an expansion while still preserving the vast majority of our backyard, which we love. We've spoken with our neighbors whose property borders the proposed addition, and they seem to be comfortable with this. With that brief background, I'd now like to turn it over to Daniel Duvenet for additional details about our plan.
Joe, can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
I meant to put this on the record. I know Stephanie Abrams. I don't think that it would affect my ability to remain impartial, but I needed to put that on the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so tonight's application is a single-family home located in the R4 district. And there's one variance we need for this proposal. What we're proposing is a one-story addition to the rear of the property. And because of the nature of a split level, for us to increase their family space, you know, kitchen and family room, you're very limited to one side of the house because the other side of the house would be basement and bedroom. So unfortunately, the way the existing house was oriented on the lot, it's existing at 11.5 feet side yard setback. What's required in the zone is 15 feet, so it's an existing non-conforming structure, and we would like to expand that non-conformity. We're going going back about 26 feet, 26 and a half feet, and because of the orientation of the house on the lot, it slowly goes towards the side yard setback. So existing was 11.5 and proposed will be 11.04 feet. So it's a violation of 3.96 feet to the side yard. And again, it's a one-story addition.
Talk a little bit about what's on the other side.
Yeah, what makes this property unique is that the adjacent neighbor, the closest structure is 40 feet away. And what it is, it's a detached garage from a house on Old Short Hills Road. So it won't be affecting certainly the living space of the house on Old Short Hills Road. There'll be no negative impact on this detached garage. It's about 40 feet away. There is mature evergreen screening that exists today. I have a photograph I'd like to show you as an exhibit. And there's a 6-foot high privacy fence that separates the two properties. So there'll be no negative impact to the adjacent neighbors. No trees will come down. We won't be blocking anyone's light and airspace. And the only ones who probably will see the effect of this addition will be the Abrams. Very quickly, if I mark this A1.
A1.
It's a photograph I took this morning, and it shows our property, and it shows the mature trees, and what you don't see is a 6-foot high fence, and the detached garage from the adjacent neighbor is 45 feet away in the front of the house, so not in the rear. So I think the site can accommodate this addition. The variance, again, it's expanding an existing nonconformity, and although we looked at other options to mitigate, we're almost 4 feet in violation. But what happens is if we try to design our program and it's kitchen, dining room, there's no breakfast room, so we kept that to a minimum. Kitchen, dining room, family room, if we squeeze it in 4 feet, then it extends farther in the yard, and we thought that might be more of a negative than keeping it more compact, tighter to the house. And again, there's no negative impact to the neighbors, and the interior flow seems to work out better this way. That's our application. Materials will match existing. It's certainly.
You happen to know who owns the fence?
I believe we do.
Stand up and let's hear it.
I believe we do.
It's located inside the lot line, almost 1.5 feet to 1 foot.
And I assume that it would be appropriate and acceptable to your client if there was a condition in the resolution that that fence be maintained.
Absolutely. If I could mark this.
Are there any questions from board members of any of the witnesses?
The fence is on our property inside the landscape. Yeah.
Any questions from anyone in the audience? Are there any statements from anyone in the audience concerning this case? Board members, I'll close the public portion of the meeting. Board members, any comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I second it.
The motion on the second.
Oh, I'm sorry, and
With the condition
with
that
the
they
condition,
maintain
I'm
the
sorry, yeah,
fence?
with the condition that applicants will maintain the fence.
Yes.
And second.
Wolfgang Torres?
Yes.
Kevin Mozell?
Yes.
Jessica John?
Yes.
Russell Steinberg?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. waiting for Steve Fight, New Jersey Transit. We'll take the next case on the agenda.
Wait, we need Mary back.
Pardon me? Joe Mary.
Need some water, Joe?
Yes.
We need water?
Thank you. Very kind of you. Welcome back, Mary.
Thank you.
The next case on the agenda is Jane Wolk. Let's swear the witnesses, please.
I do.
Jane Wolk.
Douglas Miller, AHM Architects, Millburn, New Jersey.
Who's going to go first?
You can go.
Good evening. Thank you for taking the time to hear my application. My name is Jane Wolk. I've lived in town for 19 years. I'd like to build a deck on the back of my house.
Okay.
So, as Jane said, she's lived in town for 19 years, but she purchased this house in 2017. And since moving in, she's realized and she's become frustrated with the access to her yard from the inside of her house. The house is located on the corner of Mountain and Sagamore Road. And the issue is the lot slopes away, so the backyard is approximately, well, the backyard is going to be, for our conversation, is going to be the side yard opposite Sagamore, because it's on a corner, so there's two fronts and two sides. So to access her yard, or the area that you would consider the backyard, there's no real way to access it. The only way to access that yard is either go down through the basement through a storage area and out to the yard, or out the front of the house and then walk around to the back. In the rear, there's just grass, there's no patio, there's no nothing. So what we're proposing to do is build a screen porch with access off the living area and then a deck. The house is located in the R4 zone. As I stated before, it's on the corner of Sagamore and Mountain. Has existing non-conforming front yard setbacks. It's also undersized for the zone at 12,000 square feet, where 20,000 square feet is required. And due to the nature of your ordinance, section 609.5, which is the variance we're asking for, it's for accessory structure, front yard setback. And in the ordinance, it states that the accessory use or a deck or patio has to be 2 times the required front yard setback, which in our instance would be 80 feet. So 80 feet would place our only ability to locate a deck or a patio would be in this area, which is way into the rear right corner of the property, far away from the house. So due to the onerous restriction within the ordinance for accessory use on a corner lot and our undersized lot, left us no other option but to get a variance. So everything that we're asking for is conforming. The screen porch is conforming. The only thing that needs a variance is the deck, which is here. So this is the existing house located in this location. Off the back, this is where the screen porch addition is going to be, and then this is where the deck is located. We've constructed it in this way to conceal the deck from the road. So you cannot see the deck from Mountain Avenue, and the only way you can see from Sagamore is just this small section beyond the basement garage where you can see the stairs going down to the property. These plans are a little bit different than the plans you have in front of you. I was contacted by one of the neighbors who had some concerns about the ability to see this from Mountain Avenue. So what we propose to do is add some evergreen screening in this area here, which is outside the screen porch on the lower level, as well as add some lattice underneath the screen porch section of the addition to give a more attractive aesthetic and to conceal the area underneath the deck, which sometimes can
The
be.
plans we have do not show those.
Right, so I have the plans, I could give you copies, or I could just flip through and show you here.
Well, if you have enough copies for the board
I do.
members, that would be great.
Thank you.
And give a copy to our secretary. Let's mark that exhibit A.
Is it all three sheets?
First A1 and A3 have changed.
A1 and A3?
A2 has remained the same, the floor plan has not changed.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
Eileen, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to just say new set of plans, A1, in evidence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, tell us again what sheets
Right, so
the
the
changes are
The
on.
first page, A1, has changed, and the only difference is the row of evergreen screening that's located to the left of the screen porch addition. There's a label pointing to it on, right near Mountain Avenue, right in this location here.
Right?
And then on sheet A3, these are the elevations. I've added the lattice underneath the deck on the rear and the evergreen screening along the left elevation, which is the Mountain Avenue front elevation. So I thought by adding this lattice appease the neighbor, and I also think it makes it look a little bit more integrated into the home, and the evergreen screening I think is attractive and will conceal that area underneath. While we're on the elevations, I think from the rear, the existing is on the top here and the proposed is on the bottom. And by adding this in, it actually breaks down the scale of that rear elevation, especially for the house downhill. I think it'll transition nicely and not give this kind of sheer three-story wall facing the rear property line. So I think this, is a benefit. I think it makes the rear addition more attractive, and also alleviates the problem of not having any outdoor entertaining space. I drove around the neighborhood, and I have a photo board. I could mark that in as an exhibit if you'd like.
Before you do that, and before you leave that new set of plans, on the evergreen screening, what is the height of the evergreens at the time of planting above the root ball?
About 6 feet.
Okay.
How, 6 feet did you say?
Yeah.
And you said a photo board?
Correct.
We'll mark that as A2.
So these are pictures I've taken myself on September 12th, 2019 and January 30th, 2020.
I'm going to pass those so that they can come down.
The photos?
Yes.
What are they, other houses in the neighborhood?
Other houses are the subject property, views from the front, right, left, and rear, as well as the neighbor to the immediate right, and some other corners along Sagamore Road that have a similar site condition.
Now, which
as
are
this.
the photos of this house?
The top three and the center middle are of this property. So this is the 96 Mountain Avenue from the front. This is it from the left. From the right, you can see the driveway slopes down to the garage under. And then here's the rear. You can kind of see that vertical wall that I was just talking about. And this is the house on the corner of, it's at 104 Sagamore. It's the corner of Sagamore and Maple Street. On the other side, this is the neighbor immediate to the right at 98 Sagamore. That's the middle row, far right. Here, 152 Sagamore Road, another corner property. 96 Sagamore from Mountain Avenue, and 140 Sagamore from Pine Street. You can see they all have decks or some sort of outdoor entertaining space. I know that across the street from our property at 96 Sagamore, They received a variance for the same thing, accessory use in the rear yard. I'm sure it's a very common variance. I've received 2 others in this immediate variance, in this immediate vicinity in the last few years. I think just because of the way the ordinance is written with these undersized lots on the corner, you really don't have any other option. Do you want me to pass this around?
Yes, I think it might be a good idea to pass them down. Thank you. Anything more?
Yeah, just in closing that, I think that the addition looks very well integrated into the home. It's set back further from the street than the existing home, so I don't think it's going to impact the surrounding properties. I think by keeping the scale low, we're preserving the light, air, and open space. It improves the functionality of the house, improves the housing stock, conforms to all other requirements of the zone. We're only asking for just the deck for the accessory use from the front yard. And I don't think it's a detriment to the zoning plan, so I respectfully ask for the board's approval. Thank you for your time. Do you have any questions?
Questions from the board members?
I have a question.
Mary?
Why did you decide to stop the lattice at the porch and not go have the lattice extend under the deck?
So I thought it made the deck look a little bit lighter, and I wanted the screen portion of the addition to look more solid and more house-like, even though it is very transparent and very light and airy. I think that grounds it to the site, and it was also in response to one of the neighbors' complaints. And I think by keeping it open on the other side improves the view to the neighbor and keeps it a little bit more open, a little bit more airy.
So I'm concerned that zoning variances run with the land and not with the property owner, so that I was concerned that there might be some storage under there at another point in time, and which makes it